Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer number 2 breakdown, where we're going to go through every one of these scenes and maybe teach you something that you didn't know about GTA 6. We'll be referencing some things from the leaks. We'll be referencing some things that are just lore and known in the GTA 6 universe. No, I have not been living under a rock. I've been taking notes, been paying attention. There's a lot of help also coming from the GTA 5 mapping group that I'll be referencing as well. But let's go ahead and jump on into it. All right, this is the opening scene here. We are in Key Lento, which is pretty much Key Largo. And this is the opening shot looking south, and you can see how the keys go around to the right-hand side as they curve out to the west towards Sundown, which is Key West. Let me get my pointer out and we'll talk a little bit about what we're seeing here. We have the microwave tower right here that is on Key Largo. That's a big giveaway that this is what it is based on, not to mention some of the buildings as well. This beautiful house with the pool right here is 500 Pompano Drive. That was found on Zillow. Now, out in the distance, you can see this building right here. It says Brian's Marina. This is Brian Hedder's Marina that you'll see later on in the trailer as well. Looking down here, I know it's pixelated. We're going to do the best we can here, but that is 1 north to Hamlet, and Hamlet is Homestead. The sign on the top is very hard to read, but it's something key, probably Sundown Key, and then whatever the next one is going to actually be called. Over here, you have a little bit of a kind of a Twisty, which is a very popular ice cream spot in Florida. Might be a take on that. I am not sure, but definitely looks to me like a ice cream spot. Now, in the previous trailer, we saw this as well, but this is what used to be called Fat Albert before they took it down, the tethered aerostat radar system blimp that's attached to Cujo Key in the real world. Now, this was replaced by the Argos 2 in 2024. Now, this is to monitor the southern border, and they currently operate 2 blimps as of today. All the way stretching out to the right-hand side as it goes into Sundown down there, that is the 7 Mile Bridge, as you can see there. And then there's a rogue island off to the left, just around this spot. Now, it's funny to me that Rockstar decided to put down a storm system right here, or clouds that are going to be covering this section, because this is looking more to the south of where I personally believe they're going to have some sort of Bahamas. Now, to me personally, I think that it makes a lot more sense to be smuggling drugs via boat or seaplane from the Bahamas or other islands into Leonida rather than flying up to Ambrosia or even Port Gellhorn. Over here on the right-hand side, you can see the 24/7 has made its return into the GTA 6 world. We've seen it before, but here it is in Key Lento. Now, we'll see this in just a few moments, but we have these 2 sets of trees out here in the distance, and this is on the far right side of Key Lento. And this is where we're going to be setting up for the next shot, which is at Jason's house, which is right back in here somewhere. Love the little Key West boat here and these other boats, man. They have a lot of new marine vehicles in GTA 6, and I'm here for it. Let's go ahead and play it forward. Here we go to the second scene. Now, as we rock this forward, you're going to see right here is an iguana that's walking up to Jason's stilted house here. And on the right-hand side, you have a bird just hanging out on the deck, which is really cool. I love the detail we're seeing here in not only the vehicles, but the houses and all of the buildings. I mean, this is a huge step up from GTA 5. We'll see the Eudora here in just a few moments, but check out the Vapid vehicle over here that is basically kind of like a 1971 Ford Ranchero that Jason drives. And pay attention all along here. You can see the rust and all of the decay on the car. That's something that I've noticed in GTA 6 as well, and we'll see that here on the Eudora shortly. And here's a shot of Brian Hedder getting out of the Vapid Cara 4x4, and that is the Eudora there on the right-hand side that we saw before. I want you to pay close attention here to his feet. When he walks like that, watch what happens to the sand. It gets moved out of the way, and you see the sand just kind of flips up with it. That's just a small detail. The ground detail looks fantastic. And I mean, I can't get over just how much grime is on the front of the truck there. It looks fantastic. I mean, it's just so much better than anything we've seen before. All right, so Jason's going to be getting down the ladder here, and the animation of this is really well done. Look at the ladder actually moving around when he steps on it. That's a small little detail I thought was really cool. But look in the background here. We got one of those barges we saw in trailer 1 moving some cargo containers up and down the keys. And then we have what kind of looks to me like a Sea Ray, which is a new boat for GTA 6 here. Now, sadly, I can't play the audio, but one thing I found very, very funny is that he said he was up there fixing some leaks. I thought that was a pretty good one. Now, Brian Heder is apparently voiced by Stephen Root. You may know him from like News Radio and being Milton on Office Space. But check out on the right-hand side, we've got a raccoon back there, a trash panda, jumping out of the trash can and walking around back there. A really cool little detail, and it looks so realistic how it moves. So here's Jason. He's all ripped and all that stuff. And later on, we'll see him working out at the beach. Perhaps we are going to see Jim's return, where you have to actually take care of yourself to have a certain physique, you know, and to also be able to fight better and all that. But the detail is just absolutely ridiculous. Look at the actual spray markings here along the plank of the deck here, and the little splotches of paint all over the place because he's working on the house. And down there you can see Brian getting back into his truck to leave. The Eudora over there on the right-hand side just completely baked by the sun. And now we can see Key Lento here with its charm as a vehicle is making a left-hand turn on that road there. And it looks really, really detailed. And that's the biggest thing you're going to see is just not only the grand scale of this map is so big, but the detail is so insane. It really is going to make you feel like you're going to different places when you go to different sections of the map. Backing it up here for just a minute, I want you to see the reflections that are happening in the windows. And then behind him, he has his palm tree sheets as a curtain. And we'll see that later on in the trailer as well. Just a great view there of the location. Check out that boat there on the right-hand side. If you've seen the leaks, then you know what boat that is and where it's been sitting before, and just how impressive the graphics have become during the polish passes. And I got to say, the overall look of this trailer looks so much better than trailer 1. And trailer 1 blew me away. Now, as Jason walks into the house here, you can see there are those beautiful palm tree sheet curtains there. And then it's got a no solicitor sign on the window there. As he walks in here, you're going to notice the detail to the right-hand side right there where the doorbell is. Look at how the cable runs up there and the zip tie and all that. It's just, it's absolutely incredible. You can see the tattoo that Jason has on his right-hand side there of a bird falling. Looks like it's falling straight down with like an arrow through it or something and some blood coming out of there. And then now we walk into the stilted house. We're going to see this a few times in the trailer. And you know it's this house because look, when he walks in, you've got that tank there on the right-hand side. And that is where the snake will be later on. Or he has a pet snake now, and you'll see it later on as well. He's walking into this house, and this house looks to the northeast because you can see the bridge in the background here. I'll back it up just a little bit. The bridge goes up into the south tip of Vice City, and that's how we were able to kind of triangulate where Jason's house was from the opening shot that we saw earlier. All right, this next shot, we're seeing Jason drive to wherever he's going here, but it goes to the next scene, which is going to be at a really interesting headshot. But we're moving down the road here. One thing you'll notice is just the attention to detail along the door here with the rust. Another thing I noticed is look at that glass pane, how thick that is. That looks really, really good. And the reflections of the mirrors working in real time there. Just really impressive. He drives up here next to this lady that's holding a little dog in her arms, shouting, "Hey, Jason." He's clearly, you know, a very prominent figure here in Key Lento. A lot of people know him. And then we see the Penumbra here, and the Penumbra has got it's got a livery on it that has little kitty cat paws, but they might be dog paws. The more I see this, if it's slowed down, it looks more like a dog paw because, you know, she's a dog person. She has a little dog there, in her right hand. But yeah, the penumbra there wrapped in pink, just really cool, showcasing, you know, just how wonderful the vehicle customization is going to be in this installment. Another thing you'll notice is that if I rock it back and forth, the hands and the wheel are not connected 100% here. So, you know, still early footage for sure. They don't have that completely tied down, but look at his arm hair there and that watch. You're going to see that watch a few times in this trailer, and it tells the time in real time. Obviously, that makes sense, but it's just a small detail that just looks so good, being that it's digital. All right, so we see Jason walking into this place. Now, this place is probably going to be the Rain Barrel Village in the real world. It matches up with some of the stuff from outside, and you'll see it later on as well. I don't know if he's racketeering or what he's doing here. Maybe they owe him money, but he smacks this guy across the face here. And one thing, you'll miss it if you don't pay attention for just the blink of an eye. Check out that little lizard there on the wall with a Tommy Vercetti shirt. Thought that was a really cool nod to Vice City from back in the day. You see some Leonida postcards there for $1. And no, that's not the map or anything. A lot of the mappers were all excited there for a minute, but it's not. It's just looks kind of like a sun, a cartoon sun, and some fruit to the left-hand side. This amethyst like geode thing here on the bottom right is gorgeous. I thought that was really cool, and it brings this whole scene together. You can see the detail on the cash register, which is just phenomenal, and you're going to see it here in just a few moments, that it interacts with Jason in a way that props in GTA 5 don't currently, and that is when he punches this thing, boom, look at the movement of it. It comes up off of the desk a little bit there, and on the right hand side you can see the hookah smoke falling down, but that is one of the other employees. He probably already knocked him out, but he's down on the ground back there in the background, and this guy on the left hand side's been, you know, he's been assaulted, and he's like, he's hurting there, but Jason smashes his hand on this thing. Watch what happens here. This thing is going to fly open, and then when he pulls this out, you're going to see a couple things happen here. Watch. The actual register lifts up off the ground and moves around. But here, you actually see the notes, and you're going to see the coins move based on that as well. That blew me away to see that. That was just really cool. And there we could see the clock. It's 11:08 in the morning right now. All right, now we move on to the next one. We've got some DOT workers over there, is what it looks like to me, or maybe you're going to see a person up here doing some community service as well. This is the first time we have seen a Gloriana plate in our face right here. And you see two people in the back of this truck riding in the truck, and that's cool enough as it is, but watch what happens as it pulls away. Look at that. We got truck nuts. You better believe it. We have truck nuts as a nice accessory to add to the truck. And I thought it was hilarious that they were actual nuts there, like nuts and bolts. Another thing is, if I rock this around, it kind of looks like the left side mirror is picking up the reflection of this guy that's in the back with his cowboy hat. The reflections on the mirrors are really impressive, even on the AI cars. And over on the left-hand side is the new 5th gen Ram looking vehicle, the Bison, of course, pulling a jet ski, and it looks absolutely beautiful. But I love the new 5th gen Rams we're going to see in this game. So we continue down the road here, and we have a lot to cover as far as the buildings that we're actually seeing here. And we're going to start on the left down there towards just above the blue coquette there. That's the Stephen P. Clark Government Center. Then you have Infinity at Brickell. Then you have 1 Broadway. And then you're going to see the Lawn Bank right here, right as that opens up. That's the Lawn Bank spot there. It's possibly the Babson College building. It's really hard to say down in there. And then these 3 big ones on the right-hand side are Park Grove. And then you can even see their residences at the Ritz-Carlton as well. As we drive along, we look up and have a look at this. We get a glimpse of Fly US in their new livery. It looks pretty, actually. In the GTA 5 jet, I don't know if this is a placeholder, airplane they're using. This is a 747-400, and he's got his landing gear down, which the landing gear kind of look a little small for the airplane. and he has no landing flaps as well. And then another bugaboo is having those wing vapor trails coming out there, that condensation on the wings there on a hot normal day there. That's not something that you would see. So let's back it up a little bit here. We got excited to look at the airplane. You'll notice where he's landing here and how the road curves to the left a little bit here. You can see we're coming up on 35 North. That'll take you to the airport and then eventually Ambrosia. But the airplane itself seems to be lined up for runway 30 into Miami, or Vice City International Airport in this case, which is a diagonal runway. So that's kind of showing us that, yes, indeed, they have a diagonal runway, the crosswind runway there, and then you have your normal runways. So a total of 3 runways are probably going to be present at Vice City International Airport. Let's continue on here. We can see these signs. The signage in this is fantastic. I love the addition of having the exit 3 here added to all of this here. But we have 35 North, and that takes you to Vice City International Airport and Ambrosia. Ambrosia is going to be the Clewiston / Okeechobee, some pulls from Orlando there in the Lake Leonida region. That's going to be at the heart of Leonida, but that's an exit there to get on 35 North that'll take you up that way. Now, Peacock Bay possibly is going to be Coconut Grove there, because the sign looks almost identical to the real one with Southwest 9th Avenue. Clearly, that is the case here. That takes you towards Coral Way. All right, then we open up to this shot here, which is at Muscle Beach in South Beach of Miami. Now, I've been here in real life, and Muscle Beach is actually a little further south than it is here. And you can see these different hotels here on the right-hand side, which is probably just compression of the map, I would imagine. But it looks really, really good. Look at the people. Always, that's one thing you're going to see in this trailer throughout, is that people are always doing something in the background. And when you rock the image back and forth, you can just see all the motion happening there. But here's Jason working out at Muscle Beach. Again, like I said before, perhaps we're going to be able to actually take care of our physique and, take benefits from working out and all that stuff if we get into hand-to-hand combat. Looking at the buildings that are kind of visible here on the left, we've got Park Central Hotel, Gabriel Hotel, Beacon Hotel, CVS there. That's known for being in the movie Scarface. They have it called Bobby Hurricane there. And then Colony Hotel, and then the Starlight Hotel, and then it kind of moves on north from there. Another thing I want to show is that when these two ladies over here are walking, you can see that when they walk into the sand, it pushes down into the sand. That's another small detail there, but man, it really does look like they're making a indention into the actual sand. It's very wild to see, kicking the sand around, just crazy detail. And before we end this scene here, you can see in the background that lady, she is actually walking her dog. You see the dog walking right alongside her there. Very cool. And then we're greeted with this scene. So right out of the gate, we can see Patriot Beer has a rebrand for GTA 6, and I like it. It's more simple. It makes sense compared to what we saw in GTA 5. Now, if I move this back and forth, you're going to see this beer in the Patriot Beer is actually a liquid that moves around inside there. It's actually crazy how detailed the liquid physics are in these props. If I back it up a little bit, you'll see the torn up linoleum floor. Look at the lighting on the right-hand side there, how that reflects like that. Looks really good. On the top right, just below the ATM sign, is a little kitty cat there, taking care of themselves, grooming themselves as Jason starts to walk towards the front door and a lady walks in right here. Look at the detail on the left-hand side with all those wires and cables for the security system and high voltage. Let's back up a little bit here and you can see a new billionaire every week. The Leonida Lottery. Then you have the ball fin happening there, and that guy is doing some stuff over there with the lottery. And then this lady walks in and almost holds the door open for Jason there, and then just kind of slides on by. But right on the right-hand side, we can see attention customers. It is unlawful for any person to consume or possess in an open container any alcoholic beverage in this store or within 100 feet of the store. Violators are subject to arrest and prosecution. Now, this is a nod to Florida's open container law, and that is true. You can't do that down in Florida or even the Keys. I'm going to back up one more time because there was a detail on the right-hand side that I really liked, was the vegetables and the wilting of those vegetables. Just a really cool detail on the right-hand side there. And then we walk outside, and this is really cool. We have a homeless person on the right-hand side begging for some money. Look at his hair moving around in the wind out there. The fro on the people is absolutely incredible. Just the attention to detail is just so mind-boggling. Sometimes we can see Redwood cigarettes there on the right-hand side. Handicap accessible, just, I mean, so much detail. It is sickening how good that is. And then on the left-hand side, you're going to notice something here. I'm going to get it just to about right here before we go to the next scene. And that is his car has a black panel on the left-hand side. This is something we're going to see later on in the trailer. I'll point it out again when that happens. But perhaps, you know, you have to restore this car, or this is a new mechanic on owning your own car and working on it and whatnot. But it's something that I was going to point out, that he does have a panel on the left front of his car. And then I'm going to move his hand out of the way a little bit here, but you can see a pet out here just hanging out on the back of his truck on the tailgate. I love the new things that all these pets do. The world's going to feel so alive, I'm telling you. Now we move on to this scene, and this scene has a lot going on. You have a homeless person here up on the left-hand side. You got another person in front of them. You have the police intervening with some people. They push them back, and then you've got even more people on the right-hand side being questioned or even searched there. But before we do that, we're going to wind back this just a tad. Don't just pay attention to the beautiful police lights. This is located in real life, 199 Northeast 60th Street. This is the La Pearl area in Vice City. Now, La Pearl and Little Haiti seem to be the same thing from what I can see. And later on down the road here, you're going to see that will be something that is prevalent in the screenshots that Rockstar released, as it spells La Pearl down those pillars where the Metro Mover is, you know, going over right there. We can see the new police cars. They look really good. There is a boo-boo here. I'm not sure if Rockstar decided they wanted to reverse the output of the visor light on this particular police car to light up this wall over here. But those lights are actually kind of clipping through, and right there you can see the visor lights are not supposed to be shown from this direction, only from the front. And the other police car up here on the left-hand side does not have that problem. So that makes me believe that they kind of wanted to do that to light up the wall a little bit here on the scene. But the police cars look fantastic, look really good based on the good old Miami Police Department. And then you can see the uniforms there. Now, behind the police car, it is written in French, "For the flag, for the country." We're going to roll forward a little bit here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Here's that Vapid, totally not a Crown Vic, bro. But the lights here, look at that. You'll see what I'm talking about. The front visors are actually working correctly there, and they don't seem to be doing that on the back side. Moving on to the next shot, we have the prison that Lucia is in. The towers are the same as the first trailer. So this is south of Vice City, down near Hamlet. You can see a 7.4 up there at altitude. Looks like he might even have his landing gear down. Not sure about that. You'll notice that the power lines are way more detailed and where it plugs into things. I've noticed that throughout this entire trailer, just how detailed all of that is compared to GTA 5. And it's just mind-boggling that somebody had to go through and figure out how all of this works electrically to make it a believable experience. And you can see the guard up there on top of the tower where these birds are coming towards, and the lights on there. Just, it looks absolutely amazing. You can see the weathering down the side of the tower itself. And then we move on to the next scene, which is Jason talking to this guy to get Lucia out. Now, the reason why I think maybe this trailer is backwards in some ways is because there's kind of some aging that happens in the very beginning of the trailer compared to what we're seeing here, where they seem like they're younger. I really honestly don't know. But here on the signage, it looks really, really well detailed. Look at like all the chips in all of the different signs and all that stuff. And we'll see that amazing shirt that he's wearing here in a few moments. But this guy smiles at him, and he's like, hey, I haven't seen you before here. And this is really cool here. He comes over here to the keyboard, and he's going to push it forward like that. So these props that we see in this world all seem very interactable with people, and I don't think it's just like a cutscene thing. You know, it kind of feels like everything's just going to fly out of the way, you know, if you punch it or move it or whatever. So the props have really been upgraded in GTA 6. And then we get to the next shot here, which is Jason waiting for Lucia outside of the gates. Leonida Marine Center. Look at the stain on that shirt. Look at the crinkles around the actual crew neck there. Looks really good, but you see what I mean? He looks different than he did in the very beginning, which is probably going to be something like Red Dead Redemption 2, where, you know, you're going to have facial hair that grows out and long hair and all that stuff that you'll have to cut. No weapons beyond this point there on the right-hand side. Look at the grime and dirt and trash. It looks so good. And here is Lucia there on the bottom. You can see she's got her ankle little monitor attached to her and ready to go on out the gate. And she walks up to Jason, looks here, and right here it says, I went down on the Leviathan. But a nice nod to GTA 5 there with a Leviathan, which is the little roller coaster on the pier. And you can see it really, really well in that frame as well. Lucia looks awesome, sees Jason, and they're like, what's up? Good to see you. And look at the change in the expression right there. Just, that's absolutely incredible how different that, you know, you could see the emotion of the characters just as quick as that. It's just crazy. And here's Jason here with the Leonida Marine Center shirt. And let me back it up. I got too excited to show you the ankle, you know, monitor there and all that, but look at his shirt. Let freedom reign, with a bald eagle holding two MP5s, which is kind of cool because the two MP5s kind of shows you what you're going to see later in the trailer, which is Jason and Lucia both are going to be using MP5s like that during a bank heist. So here's Jason outside of the prison, and you can see his car over there on the left-hand side. It's got the older Leonida plate on it. Looks really, really good. You can see the rust in the lighting here just looks so beautiful. I know I'm going to say that over and over again, but it just looks so, so good. And I have not found that building yet. I will someday, but I have not found that building yet. It's got to be near one of these prisons. Hey, they haven't seen each other in a while. No big deal. I'm not judging. You can see the ankle bracelet there, or the ankle monitor right there in plain view. This is actually in Jason's stilt house. You can see the blinds there and that fan and the bed. That is all in his house. You can even see the unpainted walls there on the right-hand side because he's in the middle of painting the place as well. All right, now we jump into the first scene of the bank robbery / heist. This is going to be at the Sin Frontera National Bank, which is a play on the Santander Bank on Brickell Avenue, and I'll show you that in a minute. She's got a skull mask and an MP5, and this is what I was talking about right before we got to this moment with the Let Freedom Reign on the back of his shirt. There was two MP5s. There's this one here that she's holding, and she's got a face mask with a skull on it and some sunglasses there. And I mean, just looks so good. Look at the marble in the background there, the white marble. And this is how you kind of attach all these scenes together to know it's in the same spot. But that is the bank here with the stairwell that leads up to the second floor there. And right here, it flips over to this shot, security lockdown in effect. And you can see right there, Sin Frontera National Bank, and more signage of Sin Frontera National Bank there in the middle towards the top. Now, this is a real place that is on Brickell Avenue, and you'll see it later on in the GIF images that's on Rockstar's website. So here is Jason pulling one of these bankers back where you can see Sin Frontera in the background there. And what's really nice is look at the gold wrapping on that pillar there. It looks really cool. This is what I was talking about before. He's now holding an MP5, and he's got a attachment to it, so showcasing, that weapon customization here. He's got a scope on his, and she does not, or maybe it's a red dot sight. I really can't tell. He pulls the guy back. There's another person back here. I can't make out who that is. They look like they are people that are just being held hostage at that moment. Then we just see this real quick shot of them together, and then we move on to this one. Now, this is a really cool place that's down in the Keys. The bar is a recurring place in this trailer, and it's based on the Caribbean Club Key Largo. Something you're going to see here is that the condensation is present on the bottles of this Pendejo, which is a take on Modelo. But you'll see that, and look at the motion of the beer when I rock this thing around. Look at the motion of the beer, and you'll even see the bubbles come up from the bottom of the bottle. It is just absolutely insane. They're cheersing each other. Hey, there you go. We pulled off a great score. They want us to think that that's what it was. We don't know the context of how everything happened here in this trailer, but here they are hanging out on the pier of the same spot. This is the same area here, and check out the detail on the boat on the left-hand side. Looks really, really good. You got a fire extinguisher there. You've got all sorts of just amazing detail on the actual wheel area there, the wheelhouse. And then on the back, we've got a Dinka 4-stroke fuel injection 300 V6 engine. So we have Dinka, and then I've seen Nagasaki as well as one of the manufacturers of the boat motors. You see Rockstar showing off all their new boats that they have and yachts and all the action out there. You've got a group of 3 on those jet skis, and then we have little ducks, and we get this beautiful night shot at Brian's Boat Works and Marina, and that is the Dodo seaplane right there on the right-hand side. You can see it got a huge upgrade from GTA 5. As far as the detail on it goes. And it's also amphibious, so it has the wheels out there, so not sure if it lands in the water, and then he has a ramp that goes up in here. It's really hard to say. I would imagine there's probably a boat ramp that you're going to be driving the plane, up onto this particular spot to get loaded up, because they're doing some illegal activities here. Now, hunting this building down has been pretty darn difficult. There's a mapper called Rainey that thinks it could be based on the Garrison Bight Marina. And here they are loading the drugs onto the airplane. It looks like it's Jason and Cal here that are loading these drugs. And look at Jason's facial hair there. It's different than what we've seen before. It's a little bit longer. All right, now we move on to the next one. This seems like such a short little clip, but it's very, very cool. I'm excited for it for one particular reason, is we have never seen what sundown looks like. And this is sundown, which is the Key West area, and they're showcasing the lighting here. Look at this. You have the light hitting the vest there. That's actually Lucia there wearing a Brian's Marina hat doing community service, and this is how we know it is the sundown or Key West area, and that is the uniform of this officer. Looks very, very similar to the Key West patch, which looks different than any other agency that is up and down the Keys. So we have people doing community service here. The lighting looks so good. They're picking trash up. They're putting it away. So in this shot, we can see, to me, Lucia looks a little bit different. Might be an older shot here from a cutscene. But on the left-hand side, check it out. There's their pet snake, the one I was talking about before. That's where, Jason came in walking through the front door there. And on the right-hand side, see, there's the fan, and that's the bed where they met up right after she got out of prison. And that is the blinds that we saw as well. So that's how I was able to figure out that that was the same spot. But on the left-hand side, a really cool-looking snake, red and orange. Then we move on to the next shot, which is Cal hanging out here at the same bar and club that we saw from before. So they're getting a round of drinks up. Here we go. Look at this shot. Absolutely beautiful. Monday to Friday, 4 to 7 p.m., happy hour. Looks like it's like about 10% off selected beers there on the wall. Then we have the Good Time State, which is the slogan for Leonida. A lot of details all over the place. Look at all the different Leonida and Gloriana plates all the way across the board there at the top. The sign at the very top there, if you puke, you clean. Refill your drink here. There she goes. Look at the animation on ringing that bell. That is so cool. And the excitement that she has ringing the bell and her hair flying around while it's happening. You can see Jason and Lucia there in the middle alongside Cal. And this on the right-hand side says Hurricane Roxy was this strong. So maybe, hey, we could see some hurricanes in the game. I think that Rockstar is absolutely capable of doing it. I think that we might actually see it. So again, here is the same place. This is right before they go outside, what we saw earlier there on that patio out there. And then on the right-hand side is the bartender on the opposite side of the bar. And she has a shirt that says the Rusty Anchor as well. So the Rusty Anchor is a well-known spot here in Key Lento. And then we move on to the next shot, which is showcasing just how incredible the animation and the work that has been done on making these people look so believable. It is crazy, absolutely crazy. But we're gonna back it up here for a second to, I think about right here. Yeah, right here. So we're on this yacht, and this is kind of backed up to the Venetian Islands, kind of like Star Island in real life and all that. Now, Jason Torst in the mapping community found this building on the right-hand side there, the Donald L. Golden Family Medical Building by Mount Sinai. And then you can see the Akoya in the distance. Then we move over to this shot here, and this is Biscayne Island in the background. It's very iconic. You can see the island there. And that building right back there is the one that kind of has the stair-step looking building that you see on the Venetian Islands from the first trailer in the evening. I love how everybody's doing something different in the background. It really makes this yacht scene feel very alive. And there's Lucia doing a twirl. And check it out. There's your glow up. Now we move on to the next scene, which is Jason and Lucia here in the car discussing something. And this looks like it's the Port Gellhorn area. Could be Ambrosia along the highway here. Now, the reason why is because we can see in the background that sign there says Delights on it, which is one of the strip clubs in Port Gellhorn. So it would make sense that you'd be advertising towards it, not away from it, right? If you're not in Port Gellhorn already, perhaps you're in Ambrosia going to Port Gellhorn. But we see some bikes in the background there. And this red bike in particular on the left-hand side is one we'll see that Jason is riding as the Dodo seaplane flies over him. And then later, when he jumps into the back of that tractor trailer and that bike goes flying with all the sparks, that seems like it's the same bike. Then we move on to this really quick shot of them grabbing each other's hands here with the American flags. And this has been extremely hard to figure out where this is located. This looks like it says Visitor or Victoria or something like that on it. I really don't know. It could be outside of Marina. Who knows? But it's just a real quick little clip there. And we finally get to see the club that was advertised in trailer 1. And that club is 919 in Vice City. We saw that in the opening shot there across South Beach, and that plane was toting that banner behind it. As we move through this, you can see all of the people around there. It looks so cram-packed full of peds, and everybody looks like they're dressed differently. I don't know how they pulled that off, but that's something I've noticed in big crowds is not everyone looks the same. And then we have Jason in this back room. And I love, you have all sorts of like DVDs or games here on the right. One says accountant, and I can't read the other ones there. And in the background, you got an old box fan, and you'll see that that says ONO on there. That might look familiar to you because Ono is the same brand that makes those cash registers that we saw earlier whenever Jason was smashing on them. And in the back room, you see the grime and the dirt and everything there with like a drill box and all that stuff. And then these guys have a little bit of, I don't think they have a beef or anything. It's really hard to say what's going on here, but look at the attention to detail on the different tattoos on people and everything. Everybody just has their own style, and it's so incredible to see. Now, I don't know where this is located, but I don't care because look at the towel, look at the light hitting the faces, look at the skin tones and just how detailed everything is. It looks real. It's just insane. Look at the hair on that guy there. Now, if you know, you know. This building in particular with the bars on the window, this is the backside of one of the buildings that was in the leaks that was near the Vice City Police Department there, where Lucia was running around in a black dress, basically. But she's on the backside here and getting lowered down, and Jason is helping her, is what I can see here. And then you'll notice that Lucia is not wearing an ankle monitor, so perhaps this happens before she goes to prison. And in the top right, you can see the police Maverick with the Vice Dale livery on it with the green and gold. Looks really good. And look at that spotlight. Just looks so much better than anything we saw in GTA 5. Lucia loses some footing there and goes for a fall and lands on the feet, and boom, right there. You could just see the impact. It is so wild. You got a dilapidated area there with air conditioning down on the ground there and some trash and graffiti. It says to keep clear there, but there's a bunch of trash there. Here's Brian at his marina, and that is Lori, his wife, in the background. One thing you'll see on his shirt right there, and you'll see it on the screenshots that are on Rockstar's website, which I will go over in the next video. It says Kenny Brewster, which seems to be one of his favorite country artists or even rock artists. I'm not really sure. Now we get into the section of the trailer that shows a lot of the police stuff. We don't know a lot about these people that are law enforcement or anybody's ranks or whatnot, but one thing is for certain, the detail on the tattoos is ridiculous. Look at the color on the tattoo there. Just looks so good. And you can see these guys back here taking some tactical positions as they're doing clearly a drug raid is what it looks like to me, with the plain clothes and all that stuff. And he's watching back there. And this is the head honcho here. He seems to be displeased, talking about something. I don't know who he's talking to here. The lighting looks beautiful. The badge is glowing there. Just incredible stuff. And now we move on to the next scene, which is Jason on Ocean Drive going south in South Beach, because we can see the boardwalk there on the right-hand side. Look at the fire coming out of the end of this gun. Look at the individual arm hairs, the veins in the arm. Just incredible stuff here, man. Really good stuff. And I also noticed they chose to use a yellow car, probably a nod to Scarface. Now we move on to the next scene where she's like, blah, blah. We have a bus that is moving down the road there, and above that bus is the Metro Mover there. Now this station for the Metro Mover is near Town Square, and it's only a few blocks over from where that night sideshow happened in Trailer 1. Another thing I noticed is, look at right here, especially when we get a nice and clear shot of it, the nails, all the accessories that are on people this time around is crazy. But one thing I did notice is that the nails look like they're going to be a lot more customizable. Then we move back to them at Club 919 again, dancing as she's wearing the same dress. Now, I thought originally perhaps this dress was the same one that she wore whenever she was hanging out of the car, but it seems to be a little bit different. And then we move on to the next scene, which is here clearly at the Starlit Motel. And this motel is iconic, especially if you know about the leaks. Rockstar even has the camera pan over to the left-hand side. And not only do we have a second-gen Bison sitting right there, but what's on the side of that truck? Schlott Construction. Let me explain to you what Schlott Construction is. It's a building that's across from Hank's Waffles in Port Gellhorn. Now, the mapping community went crazy trying to find this building. It took a ton of us of checking so many different places in Panama City, in Tampa, you name it. No one could find Schlott. And then came along Kindly Space in the mapping community, and they found the Schlott Construction building, and we all rejoiced. So I thought that was pretty cool that Rockstar put a Schlott Construction truck in there, probably as a tease. One thing is for certain, Jason is a fighter, man. Look at that. He absolutely throws this guy into the car. And in the background there, you can see a Gallivanter Baller burning up. So not sure what's going on in this mission, but it looks pretty darn awesome. He's very upset with this guy in the fact that he just threw him into the side of his car. Look at the different shoes. Just looks so good. And at the very top right, perhaps we are going to see a little bit of a Taco Bell parody, but they're holding a taco. That is for certain. And right before he throws this guy into the car, you can see on the right-hand side, looks like an outdoor gym of some sorts because those are some weights and a barbell. There are the hills right there off to, looks like the north to me. Next up, we have Lucia in a cage fight, absolutely kicking the crap out of that guy. You can see all these people in the background hanging out, watching as she has just taken him down just like that with one good kick. But yeah, the fighting mechanics look fantastic. And as we slow it down right here, you'll see on her neck, look at the sweat lines coming down. Absolutely crazy detail. All right, now we can see that Jason and Lucia are back in here. And this looks like it's a different time period because look in the background, we have those palm sheets we saw before hanging up as the blinds. And then we get this shot, which is awesome because this has the Gellhorn International Raceway shirt. And the Gellhorn International Raceway is the raceway that is kind of like Sebring. It borrows a lot from Sebring, and it is to the south of Port Gellhorn. Now we get to one of the most iconic shots in this entire trailer, and that is the grenade launcher that Lucia uses here out of the back of this vehicle that is completely destroyed. Look at the top corners gone completely. And then we can see the right-hand side looks like a possible, it's really hard to say, but it could be one of the local police departments. The one in the middle, that is the Buffalo, that is a Vice Dale unit. And then on the left, that is a Brute police riot. And then at the top left, you can see Fun Has No Borders. That is the Lavazas, which is a different beer. And interestingly enough, we can see on the left-hand side some mountains kind of going up in the distance there. So that's probably more off to the north than it would be to the south, obviously. So on the left-hand side, it says Waning Sands, Leonard County, which is Highway 97, and then 404, Vice Beaches and Kelly County. And you also have the Fun Pass up there, which is the take on Sun Pass. And it even says toll by plate. But let's watch what we came here to see, and that is the frame-by-frame destruction of this Buffalo as it gets absolutely destroyed. Look at the shockwave right there that happens, and then there's a huge dent that you're going to see on the right side of the Buffalo as it gets blown into pieces here. And we saw that shockwave hit us a little bit right there with the camera, and that car's going flying off to the right-hand side here. And as we advance it, you're going to see there's the big explosion, and we're going to see this hood is actually going to crumple. So that was the SUV on the right-hand side that just exploded into just a million pieces here. But right here is really cool. This is showcasing the damage model on these cars. It's a lot more sophisticated than what we saw in 5, that's for certain. As I bring it forward here, look at the front there. You can see the Vice Dale police on the side there. But on the hood in particular, that buckles open and it goes flying. It looks so good. And the Brute police riot escapes with hardly any damage at all. Now we come over to the next shot that has the Vice City Manatees jersey happening here. And above there is the basketball team that is the Narcos. We'll go into that in the next video. Back on the right-hand side, you'll see the Doberman Pinscher hanging out on the ground. But further back there, that is the Bayside Mall area. So this looks like they're going to be walking behind the Sahara Arena that is known as the Casillas Center where the Heat play. And on the left-hand side, you can see some women in some athleisure wear warming up before their jog or whatever they're going to do. Another thing you're going to see in the top left is part of Bayside, and that is the Ferris wheel. Next up, we get this incredible, outrageous scene where we have two people having a fight in the gear bay of a 747-400 while it is landing at Vice City International Airport. So clearly that is Lucia that is wearing the vest. You see her face right there pretty well. And she has her ponytail. And fighting this person that is absolutely jacked. She is just going ham as they fall down further towards the bottom. And they're basically just flying over the Brickell Key area. And you can even see a nice helipad on top of that building, which looks really, really cool. But absolutely crazy. I love the detail, though, in the gear bay. It is pretty darn good. It even says right there on the top left, hazardous area, you think? Now we move on to the next scene, and this is straight out of Fast and Furious 5 here. Look at this. Flying out with a safe attached to the back of this bison. And this bison is a dually, by the way, as well. Now, to me, this area, based on the house there on the left-hand side, and if we back it up a little bit, look at the street lamps here. This looks like we are probably in the Venetian Islands area, in the Star Island kind of spot. As they fling this thing out, look at the oversteer on the truck. I love the body roll. Look how it lifts up like that. The driving is going to be so fantastic from what I can see here in the two trailers that we have. Another thing I've noticed is that the lights are way more prominent now, especially the tag lights. The license plate light looks a lot better, but I think if we could find that building right there, which looks like one of the houses actually, if we could find that spot, then we would probably have a good idea of where this is at. Kind of hard to say. You have some palm trees there with some lighting on it, but look at this safe getting dragged on the ground, the sparks flying out, just the oversteering over and over again, just amazing stuff. And then Jason and Lucia head back to the house, and then we move on to the next scene where they're at a club hanging out with this guy. I'm not sure who this guy is, but the lighting looks so cool, and this is another, I think, nod to the whole social media aspect. You've noticed in this trailer, they're not showing a lot of that, but Rockstar is saying, hey, it's still there. All right, now we open up to this next scene that is here on Ocean Drive. I've been down here in real life not too long ago. It looks just like it. It's absolutely incredible. The only difference is that now they have everything shut down to like one lane. But we can see here on the left-hand side, you got looks like a Phoenix back there in red. You got a Banshee. You got all sorts of cars down here. And the Dominion Hotel, which is the Cardozo Hotel in real life. And then you can see we have the Tides, McAlpin Plaza, Winter Haven, and then we have Hotel Victor, and then the Breakwater down there, which is called something else, and then the Portofino Tower as well. Now we move on to the next scene, Ocean View Hotel, aka the Clevelander. I've seen this one in real life as well, and it looks spot on. I've been here before. Night scenes seem to be getting out of hand just like in real life, and I've got to say one thing is, of course, the ceiling fans are rotating and looking beautiful with those TVs underneath there. Those look just like the real ones. This is crazy how detailed this is and how accurate it is to the real place. And then we get a quick shot here of the Jack of Hearts strip club. Now we move on to the next scene, which is back at Jason's stilt house. And there's a lot happening here in this particular shot, but we're looking northeast once again from Jason and Lucia's house out towards the road that would take you up into Vice City. You can see we have like a PS5 controller. We have a PS5 next to the TV. Look at the reflections in the picture frame over there when I rock this image. Look at how accurate that is. That is so crazy. Another thing is that you'll see the beer have bubbles that actually are moving. It's just wild. And of course, out there on the porch, seagulls are doing seagull things. I've seen the rumor about Phil Cassidy from the Vice City Stories being in here. To me, it would be his son, if anything, to kind of play around with the timeline to make it make sense based on what he looks like. But a very cool nod for sure, if that indeed is his son. We also can see him pick up the MG. First time we're seeing the MG in GTA 6, and it looks insane. And then there he is on top of Phil's ammunition, shooting the MG with one arm, blasting it off into the distance. All right, now we get to this scene. Jason is napping on the couch after having some lavazas there, and you can see Lucia just came home and has her keys in her hand. You'll see she's also wearing a LDC vest, so it looks like she is coming back from sundown from doing the community service and just wants to crash out after a long day. Just look at how realistic everything looks. I cannot get over it. And the small little details. Look there in the walkway. Remember before he walked in, we couldn't really see it too well, but you can see they have that laid down with the painter's tape and everything on the ground as they're making those renovations to the home. And just above there, you can see a little attic there that has a box and some things that are put away, but very, very cool. All right, now we move on to the next scene, which is the Buzzard helicopter in the Grass Rivers. And you're going to see a familiar face here in a minute on the right-hand side, but just look at how gorgeous this is. This is probably Alligator Alley, if I had to guess, because they have a highway that runs along the far south there. But you have a airboat going down this little spot here. Look at the spray off the back of that, the wake. But on the right-hand side, that guy looks familiar, doesn't he? Yes, that is Brian Heder. Is it Heder or is it Heater? I would say it's probably Heder. I don't know. But it looks like Brian on the right-hand side on that gun as they're chasing these people down. So it's going to get rowdy down in the Grass Rivers, that's for certain. But here's a beautiful look at the Grass Rivers. On the right-hand side, you can see all the different, kind of looks like an egret or something over there on the bottom right. But you always see wildlife in these trailers. Then the next shot is immediately looking to the left in the helicopters. And sadly, Rockstar still hasn't gotten it right. They have the pilot on the left-hand side of a helicopter. In a helicopter, the pilot would be on the right-hand side. Just a little small thing, not a big deal. Also, I have rocked this back and forth a few times to see. You can see the animation of the stick looks very smooth and very realistic. Very cool. I'm not seeing a whole lot on the gauges there. It does look like they kind of move a little bit, but like out of the amount of frames that you get here, it's not a lot to see how accurate those instruments are inside of the helicopter. But the center pedestal looks really detailed. It looks really good. All the dead bugs and everything on the side of the canopy. It's just, it's fantastic. I'm going to back it up a little bit more here. And you're going to see on the right-hand side, you got a wild pig or boar, it looks like, running there for its life. And this is something so cool. Look at the wake of the animal in the water. How separate that is from the airboat that is flying in behind him. Pretty crazy detail that I noticed, and it looks so believable. And as we get to the end of this, you can just make out right there, you got a guy on the front there, and he is definitely pointing a weapon back at the helicopter. Now we move on to the next scene. This is near the Venetian Islands / Star Island. I've actually taken a boat tour through here before that goes underneath the bridge there, and then you go see all the celebrity homes and all that. It was really, really cool. You can see a Buckingham Super Voluto helicopter, and then we can see Trump Palace, Akoya, Jade Ocean. You'll see the Mason Grand Condo, 5959 Collins Avenue, 6060 Indian Creek Drive, 1800 Sunset Harbor Drive, Green Diamond, Blue Diamond, and the Treasure Tower, all in this area. And then you're going to see it right at the last second. Look at all the people there on top of that yacht having a good time. I also love all the little floats that they have, the little floaties. They've got the swan out there, the pink flamingo. It looks good, but this sea shark gets over here, and check this out. We see this last little bit of island here, which is the Flagler Memorial Monument Island. And how do you know that? It's the very last frame. Very last frame. There it is right there. There is the monument. So that's how you know where you're located here. Another thing is that look at the wind in the hair. It just looks so incredible. Now I know we're saying this is the best thing ever since sliced bread, but it is. Now we move on to the next scene, and this is Jason on that red motorcycle. We saw them earlier. I love the detail you see in the sunglasses and how it reflects everything. That is just super, super impressive. And we can see right here, the Dodo seaplane is coming in here. It's got a heck of an update, and it even has a better tail number on it and stuff. You see right there on the right side wing, the November 571, whatever. You're going to see it here in a minute. There it is, November 57191 Charlie. But something that I've noticed is it just feels like that airplane is so much more beefier than it is in GTA 5, and it looks like it's just like it has weight to it. I can't explain it. But look at the headlight. That looks so well done. The attention to detail on those indicators there, just, it's phenomenal. You see the heat blur coming out of the engine there as the stacks get over. And we're going to get all the way down to the last few frames here. And look at this. It's kicking up that dirt right there. There's a lot happening in this particular scene, as we can see Jason getting ready to steal a vehicle out of the backside of this trailer. Has the doors open, and he's going to jump off his motorcycle. This is the first time we're seeing him do this, but he's going to do this again, this whole jumping off of a motorcycle thing. So maybe that'll be something we're going to see, the vaulting off of that. Another cool thing is you're going to see right here, you'll blink if you miss it, but it says Liberty City on that plate. This truck's going through the downtown Miami Biscayne area. Basically, it's just the Biscayne area. You can see one Biscayne tower. And on the right-hand side, you'll kind of miss it there. There's the Metro Mover over there on the right-hand side, which kind of coincides with all of that. And that building says Mega Mundo underneath there. Jason makes it to the back of the truck trailer and hangs on for dear life. His bike goes flying out behind him, sparks everywhere, looks incredible. You can see all those parallax interiors, and they look really good from a distance. Now we're back at the Starlit Motel, where we saw these two in the very first trailer during the trust scene. And you can see he walks in, and she jumps up on him, and they turn this way. And this is kind of cool. It says, in case of fire. And it says something, reception, notify reception or something. And then it says meet by the pool is what it says. So in case of a fire, meet out by the pool. Now we move on to the next shot, which is the police Maverick in Vice-Dale colors here, as they are flying right behind this boat, which kind of looks like a Lampadati. And she is shooting back at him repeatedly. And it looks like it's her and Jason on that boat. Maybe doing a drug run. I'm not sure. This is very shallow water, as you can see the seaweed very easily underneath there. Kind of reminds me of the boat scene in Miami Vice during Russ Ballard's Voices. Now we move on to the next scene. This is in Port Gellhorn, and boy, we have a lot to talk about and to look at here. On the right-hand side, welcome to Port Gellhorn. Well, we are in Port Gellhorn, and we know that. On the left-hand side, you can see some different signs as we get closer to this intersection, but we have a lot happening here. As we step through here, you're going to see on the left-hand side, Crossroad Park Mini Mall. You can see the big sign there, but there's a small on the left. But this right here is the Gellhorn Roadhouse. That's there. And just behind there, it says liquor. You barely see it unless you come to a slow right here. But it says liquor back there on those things. And you're going to see right there. But that is Uncle Jack's, where they robbed the store in the last trailer. Let's back it up a little bit here just to see a little bit better with the signs. We've got a lot happening here. We've got East 404, West 404. So this is where you can get on the 404 to go all the way back to Vice City and all of that. We have North on the 9 that takes you up to Draper Island. And then we have on 404 East, Mariana County and Vice-Dale County. I love the semi-trucks that are in that intersection right there. They look really, really good. All right, let's bring this forward here. You can see the headlight on the bike there. Look at the fire coming out of the back of that thing. Looks so good. The suspension on the bike, just really, really good stuff. On the left-hand side, you can see the vehicle there. It looks kind of like the Ford Expedition. And then we get to the next screen here in a minute. But you're going to notice something here. You've got Lucia, which is in this car up there, which kind of looks like a Miata of some sort or something like that. Probably not a Miata, but it's a convertible looking vehicle there. And then you have people chasing her that are hanging out the side of this car that gets in front of Jason. Now he's going to turn back and look at Jason and line that shot up. But the next scene is really cool because you can see Jason jumping from that bike onto the back of her car. And you see right there, it says Burnout Scooters there. We buy and sell Burnout. Yeah, it's got to be scooters. That's what it looks like to me. So he jumps onto the back of the car, hanging on for dear life. Behind us, we can see what is the Sunshine Skyway Bridge that is known as the Bockamer Bridge in GTA 6. He's hanging on for dear life. It's almost thrown off the side of the car, hangs on. On the right-hand side, you can see we've got a built-up concrete with a bunch of graffiti along the side. Just look at the power lines. Absolutely insane. We can see Watkins Auto Parts up there as well in this area. And then we get the light that shines on her face. Look at the lighting. That looks so realistic. It's just sickening how good that is. And then we move on to good old Cal back at Brian's Marina. And he is jumping around with his Patriot beer in hand. Look at the sparks in the background falling down to the ground. and staying there. That is just such a neat detail. And then we have a ton of stickers on the left-hand side. We are running out of time, but I don't want to make it too long, but you can see the Zero oil there and the different wrenches, but you see Canis there, all sorts of different things. Very, very cool. The big yacht behind him that they're working on and welding on looks really good, and the people in the background. Another small detail you'll see here is that when he's bouncing around here, you're going to see the Patriot beer spilling out, and it even starts to fall to the ground. Look at that detail. All the way to the ground. Then we get this shot. So back where it all started from trailer 1 when they left in the Tulip, here they are in their trusty Tulip. And you'll notice, again, there is that body panel. It's gray right here on the Tulip, but it looks really good. So they're on the bridge that is actually the Venetian Islands going west. In real life, this is called Venetian Way. And right here, if I back it up on Google Street View, you'll see that that matches up identically. And you'll see a guy over here on the left-hand side on his fishing boat as they go over the bridge into the sunset. Look at the different vehicles. You got a person on the bicycle there, a bike lane that was added. It wasn't always there on that bridge. And a nice view of the skyline of Vice City. And I love that new work van. That looks really, really good. That's really cool. And then we get to the black screen, and there you go, folks. That is GTA 6 trailer number 2 in the books. You know, we got that whole delay, and we felt like somebody punched us in the gut, right? But Rockstar was like, here you go. Chew on this. Have a 3-minute trailer and have 70 screenshots. You heard me right. 70 screenshots. So I am going to make another video, like I said before, on the screenshots. We're going to break it down. We're going to get really, really detailed about things and give you a little bit more of an insight of what's going on with the map and the mapping project. I love being over there on the mapping Discord, and everybody over there has been fantastic. We just have to wait until May 26th, 2026.